In the ancient world, commodities like barley, wheat, oil, seeds, and other produce were used as a form of money. These commodities had to be weighed in order to determine if they were adequate payment. But token money, like coins, shifted that measurement to account, making exchange much easier. Token money is thought to have originated in China, where spades would be traded as money. Eventually, these developed into coins. But all modern coins are descended from the coins that appear to have been invented in the Kingdom of Lydia in Asia Minor, or modern-day Turkey, somewhere around the 7th century BC, which then spread throughout Greece and other places in the subsequent centuries. They were disc-shaped, made of gold, silver, bronze, or imitations thereof, with both sides bearing an image produced by stamping. Coins and other types of token currency increased the prevalence of markets. In ancient Greece, regular trade in household goods was conducted in the public agora, with prices set by bargaining between sellers and buyers. Payment was increasingly made in the silver coins specially minted for paying daily wages to laborers and for the payment of taxes. The usefulness of coined money in assuring foreign merchants of fair payment for their goods led to wider circulation and larger and more active systems of trade between different regions of the world. The role markets began to play in economies grew from there. Rome was perhaps the most accepting of markets and merchants. Financial markets, banks, and credit became commonplace, and Romans were intensely materialistic. Those who had the means to do so lived in flashy homes with expensive furnishings and objects. The empire was exploited so that Romans could enjoy products from all parts of it. Romans were among the most prosperous of ancient people, with GDP per capita rising as high as $1,800 per year by some estimates, affording a large portion of the population a life slightly above the subsistence level. Not all shared in this wealth, however. Slaves were numerous in ancient Egypt, and their treatment was often barbaric. Unlike other ancient peoples, however, Romans offered slaves a path to freedom through service. This was often used to dissuade them from rebellion without actually setting anyone free. Much of the Roman population lived in conditions that were unsanitary, uncomfortable, overcrowded, and hazardous. The economic gap between rich and poor was as extreme as in any society. The streets were filled with beggars, thieves, and prostitutes. There was so much traffic that it was decided that wheeled vehicles could move about only at night. Plague and other diseases were annual occurrences. Malnutrition was also common. At the same time, no matter what one's social or economic status was, Rome offered unparalleled opportunities for advancement for those who were hardworking, enterprising, and ambitious. Through markets, with some luck, a person could lift themselves out of absolute poverty. It also offered a wide variety of diversions and distractions at virtually no cost, such as the famous Colosseum. In ancient Rome, being poor, though, meant being despised. The poor often hired themselves out as unskilled workers, performing a variety of menial jobs. Decent Romans despised these workers, like the Greeks, because they believed that working for someone else was equivalent to being a slave. Those who couldn't work were reduced to becoming beggars, of which there were tens of thousands in Rome. The lucky ones managed to attach themselves to wealthy houses where household slaves would dish out scraps to them. Indeed, the Roman world was, like most of the ancient world, stratified into classes which did not think it was proper to commingle. In many ways, what Rome offered was the illusion of hope for a better life. Only a select few who excelled in the army or managed to receive an education that allowed them to climb the ranks could escape the position they were born into. While there are not any strong examples of a market economy in the ancient world, some embrace markets as a way of organizing parts of their economies. A market economy is one where decision-making is decentralized and the means of production is privately owned and operated. Through the enforcement of private property, people are incentivized to use what they own as productively as possible, allowing them to profit from that production without much fear of being stripped of those profits unjustly. In a market economy, prices are set by competitive markets, and government intervention is limited. These prices incentivize production in the areas which are most profitable and promote innovation by rewarding it with higher profits. In the ancient world, however, as is the case with some today, people were highly skeptical of markets. The merchant class who bought and sold goods in these markets were typically of very low status. In Greece, Rome, and China, most found the profession distasteful and saw the profiting from mere trade, rather than from labor and agriculture and craftsmanship, as immoral. The bazaars of the Middle East, though, are an exception, where merchants enjoyed more respect. Nevertheless, to get ahead in the ancient world, the surest path was through warfare. As cities grew wealthier, they attracted violence, which came to steal that wealth away. Ordinary men could join these armies and join in the plundering of a foreign city, earning them wealth and often slaves. When we look to history, we see a variety of lives and lifestyles, and many opportunities for a rewarding life. But economically, life in these times and places was extremely limited. Most were still resigned to extreme poverty, and their economic choices were often made for them by the state. They did the work assigned to them by fiat or by custom. They ate the same foods every day, wore the same pair of clothing, and handed down their cookware and furniture and other goods from one generation to the next. And the only way to change your lot in life was to beg, barter, or steal.